Hi YouTube, Cold Warrior 78, this is Ron. Hadn't been a while since I've gotten anything out, just been really busy with all the stupidity going on in the world. But I've taken a couple of days to just run up to the woods and go camping. This is one of my secret desert training facilities. Doesn't look like the desert, does it? Ponderosa pine trees all around me, you can see here in the background. Probably pushing 80 feet, maybe 90 feet tall. I'm actually up in the Coronado National Forest, above 6,000 feet in altitude, so you're out of the desert. I think I've mentioned this before, but when you're in Arizona or any of the desert places, the lowest area is your dry, scrubby desert. In this case, the desert we're in is a Sonoran desert, so that's where you get the saguaro cactus and all those fancy things. But as you come up from there, you start getting into cooler and moister areas on a mountain. Particularly if you're on a certain difference between the north slope and the south-facing slope, since the south-facing slope is going to get the sun a lot more brutally than the north-facing slope. At the moment, this is a north-facing slope. I am behind Safford. I'm not exactly sure how. I think it's probably a Spanish word. In English, it looks like pine-ello. So maybe Spanish would be Pinello? Something like that. Anyway, it's the ones just outside of Safford. So anyways, you go up in altitude, you start getting out of the desert scrubby stuff. Vegetation transitions to things like pinyon pines, alligator junipers, and as you keep going up, you get into these lodgepole pines. So again, 6,000 feet, 6,500, something in that neighborhood, and you get a really nice environment. It was cold last night. It went down to freezing. I'm going to show you what I was sleeping in the truck, because you don't need thousands of dollars of gear to go camping. You don't even really need hundreds of dollars. So let me take a break here. I'll walk you over to the truck and show you what we've been doing. Okay, so 15, 16-year-old pickup truck. This is a tarp that I used to use I keep in the back of the truck for cargo if I need to get something out of the wind, out of the rain. It's not new. Not entirely sure it would even hold out water, but it did okay as a roof last night. All right, I hooked it, as you saw on that side, with bungee cords to keep it flat. It's not absolutely airtight, and I don't want it to be because I want to be able to breathe. Secured it going down to here so that this would stay out. These, to give it this hoop effect, are old tent poles from a tent that I got rid of probably 15 years ago, and the poles got shoved into a corner and I forgot about them. So they are like 3 or 4 poles, put them together, bent them in an arc, just so I get a little bit of height here in the front. Now of course it doesn't take very long before you get into the absolutely flat space. But based on the, get up in there a little bit, based on the height of the bed, talking maybe 2 feet tall, which is fine as long as you have your head at this end rather than at that end. My dog slept over there last night. Where is he? Here he is. Slowly pan over to where he is. He's playing all dejected because I took him for a walk and then put him back on the rope, and he'd rather be running free, but I'm not going to do that because there's traffic out there on that road. There's some sort of construction project going on farther uphill into the mountain, into the national forest, and I don't want him getting squashed by a big ass truck. So anyway, even if this was brand new, 10, 12 bucks at Walmart, or any of the big box stores, Home Depot, whatever. This particular one is brown on the inside, green on the outside. Personally, I really hate those blue tarps, but that's just me. Then, starting at the bottom, my bed liner has these ribs in it, which is great for drainage, but man, it's uncomfortable to sleep on or kneel on. This is an old egg crate thing. It goes the width of the truck, so about maybe 4 feet. It fit on a full, might fit on a queen. I don't remember exactly the dimensions of a queen. But we had it on a really old mattress that we were too cheap to buy a new mattress for a couple of years. So we used this for a couple of years to try to get more life out of that mattress. Eventually that mattress died, and this got rolled up and shoved in a corner. Again, for years. It is probably 20 years old or more. And it was just sitting in a corner. This particular, not a drop cloth, but it's an old piece of canvasy. It's got almost an early grade of vinyl on it. That dates from the 50s. I use that in my truck as just if I got to get underneath the truck to do work, that's what I throw on the ground so I don't get filthy. So again, that's hanging around. Of course, I have a pillow because you got to be able to sleep comfortably. So probably the most expensive things in here, outside of a pillow, are 2 big box store sleeping bags. They're square, rectangular bags. They're nothing special. Don't even remember. I think I got this at Target probably 23, 25 years ago. And I got this one, don't remember. This is Swiss brand. It's got that red cross on it there, Swiss gear. Where is it? This thing? The blue, this is a good, I don't think I spent 25 bucks on it in a big box store. This was on sale. Don't remember, but it would have been a big box store, and I wouldn't have spent more than 25, maybe 30 bucks on it. So if you add those two together, 50, 55 bucks, and I've got a completely adequate sleep system. Now inside there's a poncho liner, just because I like poncho liners. Allows me to crumble up. Originally, I got in here, inside the black bag, but about halfway through the night, I had to get out, and because Snowball had gotten out growling at something. When I put him back in, I got back in on top of the black bag, just under the one blue bag with the poncho liner. And that was plenty warm enough for right at freezing. It was in the 30s. My water bottle had a little bit, there's no ice in it anymore, but there was a little bit of ice in that this morning. Now that's all covered up with this is a rain cape. For those of you who don't know, I have a Renaissance festival business, and it rains, so you need to have a cape. It's a very lightweight material. If I had to guess, it's not waterproof. It's like there's no urethane on it or anything, but it is umbrella material, I would guess. So it's tightly woven, but because it doesn't have any urethane on it, it's not going to stick or peel off. So you can roll it up really, really tightly. But it's I use it as a windbreak. Okay? So with that on top, there's another one down there that the dog was in. He kind of kicked that to the side. So using this to keep the wind from going through the sleeping bag, and then of course having this on top to keep the cold from draining down on top. It was very toasty in here. Now I will admit to trying to get this thing a little bit smoother. 2 wool blankets on top of the egg crate there. You can see those. So they weren't really keeping me warm. That was more of a trying to get those ridges out of my back. All right, stand by. Okay, hi, we're back. I cleaned up the camping stuff in the truck because it looked like it was going to rain. At this elevation, even in Arizona, rain is an issue. I think I've got time for breakfast though. So what we're going to do, let me point this down at the stove. I'll show you what hey, dog. Sorry. My dog's getting overly creative here. He wants breakfast too. Alrighty, so let me see if I can kind of stabilize that. Alright, so what we have here, other than the leaves, this is a Silverfire, call it a biomass stove, I believe. It's what I call a twig stove. Now I filled it with little twigs, size of a toothpick-ish. Biggest ones in here are probably twice the size of a toothpick. And then normally I wouldn't put leaves in here, but this plant is very resinous. I'm not entirely sure what it is because it was trimmed. Let me bring you up a little bit over there. That stuff was all trimmed off, pruned off by a crew that cleaned up the place a couple of weeks ago. And they had put it in a pile back up in the hill. So we're going to try to light this and see how it goes. Now normally you would want to put fire at the bottom and burn up, but this is a secondary combustion stove, which means it's going to burn the stuff and then it's going to reburn the smoke if it all works right. So let me see if this is actually going to work for me today with these. I'm going to use these leaves as a start. I've not done that before, so you know, bear with me if it doesn't work right away. Let's see. Maybe not. Leaves seem to be burning more out than up. Damn. Always something. All right, there we go. So that's catching the sticks on fire. Now again, sorry if that doesn't do well. I've had the stove about a year now. I've only used it 2 or 3 times. It does well boiling water. What I'm going to try to do today, well, let me move this out of the smoke here. What I'm going to try to do today is, I may have put too much stuff in there, is not just boil water, but, yeah, that's burning. Definitely going to need these gloves, best hot pot holders you can get out here. So anyway, as I said, what I'm going to try to do, wow, that's a lot more smoke than it usually has. One of the cool things about a secondary combustion stove is it usually doesn't smoke like this, so obviously I did something wrong. But at any rate, these little biomass stoves, depending on which ones you get, there are really cheap ones on the market. I'm not sure I would recommend those, but this is a stainless steel assembly. Fits down inside of this space right here. You can get them for 25, 30. I mean, you could spend probably as much as $100 on them, but 25 or 30 will work. Anyway, so I've used it to boil water to put in. Wow, that is a complete smoke screen, isn't it? How's that? A little bit better? Smoke seems to be following the camera. Well, why should the camera be any different? It follows me when I'm in front of a fire. Anyway, I've used it for things like Mountain House freeze-dried meals and things like that. And it boils water really well. One full stove of sticks will, oh, hang on. Okay. Wow, that is a lot hotter than it usually gets. So anyway, one full stove of sticks will boil about a quart of water. I use a canteen cup sometimes. I use this other stainless steel cup sometimes. Today I'm using an old pot that we were going to throw away anyway, so it's kind of made it to the camping stuff. Let me move that back just a little bit. There we go. Because I want to try to cook some ramen in it. We're going to see how that goes. Now, I could use, again, on the category of camping on the cheap, I could build a fire. I did last night. I'll see if I can put that, string that fire in here. But that was, again, sticks that were laying around. And I cooked some hot dogs on it. You could get a simple propane stove, one of those little butane, I call them suitcase stoves. They fold up on top of each other. You could get all kinds of backpacking stoves and things. And again, stoves will run you anything between like $25 to $100, probably more. So you can spend a lot of money if you want to, but you don't need to. How are we doing here? Oh yeah, that's good. So again, my whole point is you can go camping with what you have hanging around. You do not have to spend thousands of dollars and buy fancy trailers and all this other stuff. Now, why does this matter? Because in the preparedness community, there are lots of people who have determined that I need to spend a lot of money on my bug out stuff. I need to spend a lot of money on my bag. I need a fancy trailer. I need a whatever. Disagree. Completely disagree with that concept. I am spending this entire camping trip, generally speaking, with old stuff that I had laying around, repurposing other stuff, like in the case of the the wool blankets and things. You didn't even need sleeping bags, really. You could do all that with a couple of decent blankets. But I had the sleeping bags hanging around, so why not use them? Now, I've heard, I don't know how many times, well, Ron, you just don't understand. I got kids, and I don't have that stuff hanging around. My answer is, yeah, I had kids too. That's why I have this stuff hanging around. You know, I spent maybe 20, 25 bucks, certainly no more than 30 on those sleeping bags. The black ones, I bought 2 or 3 of them at a time, and I know I didn't spend any serious money on it. So, what are you doing with your money if you don't have this kind of stuff laying around? You know, you could spend $400 on fancy sleeping bags. Okay, that's cool. If you need them, by all means, do that. But why? If you're going to go car camping or something like this where weight is not so critical, why would you bother? I'm going to bring this up here for a minute. Okay? It really comes down to priorities. And this really ticks me off a lot nowadays. And I'm serious when I say, well, you know, hey, Ron, I got kids. I don't have money to do that. Garbage. You know, stop giving your kids 14, 15, 16 Christmas presents. Buy 1 or 2 good ones and be done with it. Give them experiences. My stepson, who's, well, let's just say he's on the high side of 45, still talks about a trip that I took. I took him and his friend for a camping trip, a backpacking trip on the Appalachian Trail when they were teenagers. He still talks about that. He had a great time. So give your kids experiences. And I don't mean a trip to Cabo or some stupid thing like that. I mean, get your kids out in the woods in a state park, a national forest like we're in here, state forest, you know, somewhere. Get them outside and be active outdoors. Don't be one of those people who laments that their kids are overweight and all they do is play video games. You can influence that, but you need to be there. And in order to be there, you need to spend time with your kids. Personally, we also homeschooled not the first son, but the second son, which was the best idea we could ever do, because now you are the main influence in their life and you can make sure that they take on your values and things. And yeah, there'll be some pushback, particularly if your child started in public school for a while and now they think this is strange. But really, it's not strange. That's the way people educated their kids for centuries. And frankly, given the garbage going on in public school systems nowadays, you can do as good a job or better than they can, without question. And I don't even know you. So anyway, we'll let that cook and get to it. So you can camp without a whole lot of money. Buy things when they're on sale. Not the cheapest of the cheap necessarily, but on the lower end of the scale, if you call it entry level, maybe be a good term for that. Take care of it. You know, I don't leave those things. Those sit on a rack on a shelf. Store them so the rats can't get at them. You know, store them so they're protected from mildew and stuff like that. Dry them. You've got to launder them occasionally. Only occasionally. So take care of them, but you don't have to spend thousands of dollars on gear. I don't think I've got $100 worth of stuff, all total, wrapped up in everything that I had out here. Because when I got it, it was inexpensive. Those blankets, for example, those were from one of the, well, before the internet hit big, you had the catalog, you know, these surplus catalog stores, and I got those out of a catalog, mail order. Internet, same thing. You know, Bezos' 5th yacht. I don't care. Well, I do care. I don't like Bezos. But anyway, you get my point. You don't need to buy brand new, and you don't necessarily need to buy the top of the line in order for it to be functional. And again, sleeping bags, okay, you don't have them. You got blankets at home, right? Bring some of those. Quilts, they work well. So you don't have to have a bunch of expensive equipment. And if you're into preparedness, yes, you need a certain amount of stuff, but you need skills as well. Can you start a fire? Can you cook over a fire over a little bitty portable stove, or regardless of what kind it is, whether you use a biomass stove or Coleman or any of those guys? Can you do it? You're going to think to yourself, yes, I can, but ask yourself the question, when was the last time you did do it? I can't answer that for you. The more you do it, the better you get at it. The lessons that you learn will stay longer if you don't take 2, 3, 4, 5 years between trips. Okay? Pretty simple. So this is Cold Warrior 78 saying, get back out in the woods, have some fun, and practice your skills. Skills are way more important than stuff. Okay? So, have a great time. Bye-bye.